to move the chat window things. It's probably be a pretty short stream. There we go. Looking at a little bit of tech news before I started streaming. So AMD screwed up some stuff with their Radeon. They've never been... It feels like AMD just doesn't understand graphics stuff, and they've had ATI for a really, really long time now. It makes no sense. See which direction. And change my thumbnail. All right. Yeah, kind of odd. So RDNA 1 and 2, and there's 3 and 4. They're basically not going to keep the old ones as up to date. The 6000 series really isn't that old. I feel like I was looking at 6000 series ones before I got the 4060. And Gamers Nexus was saying that some of them, there's some things are still being sold with RDNA 2. So it doesn't make much sense. Just 6800 XT, stuff like that. Yeah, but if you want some like decent information, Gamers Nexus of course is a good option. I only got halfway through it. Got through the gaslighting portion. Partly. Let's see what else. RDNA 2 is still being sold. It looks like. Intel puts AMD to shame. I don't know what that means. I don't know if you'd appreciate me watching his video on stream, especially since I multi-stream to YouTube, so I'm not gonna, watch it on here. But, yeah. Let's see if there's a... There's a transcription, maybe. Not seen one. Nope. That's weird. Here it is. All right. Let me jump to here. RDNA is actively being sold. Let's see. It's not the best spot to be.
We have something cool here. What you're looking
ads. Why do you throw that ball like that? Let's see. I was just looking for an example. But I don't see one on here. Maybe this one. 6850 MXT 2022. $5,600. What is this? I don't know. PlayStation? Okay. Yeah, Chinese exclusive 6750 GRE, both the 10 and 12 gigabyte variants. So those are still being, oh, they released in 2023. So 2 to 3 years ago. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Steam Deck uses RDNA 2. Also bad. Yeah. I don't think there's really any point in me trying to cover this in my own video. See, did a good job here. All right. Anyways, that's one thing. But they kind of walked back on it. I don't think they totally did. They're still separating the code for the RDNA 3 and 4, and the 1 and 2. Yeah. Let's see what else we got here. I did notice there's a Miku PC on Asus. I saw it on Instagram. I'm not gonna bother with that. Looks pretty good, but the components look expensive. No surprise. I'm not seeing it here for some reason. Motherboards. AI cache boost. Accelerate. What is this? Okay, I couldn't even read it. Alright. Here it is. Miku motherboard. So they've got components. Is it even on the US website? Let's search. Imagine typing Miku into Asus's website. Helios 2 something. That's a case, maybe? No, it's only $1,900 for the Miku GPU. Imagine spending, this is just an NVIDIA thing. Spending $1,900 on a GPU and it has 16 gigabytes of VRAM. That is insane to me. That they're so stingy with VRAM. Dual BIOS. I like the design. It looks nice. Let's go to the gallery. Very teal. Yeah, that's a lot of money for a GPU with 16 gigabytes of VRAM. Recommended PSU 850 watt. I don't even know what my PSU. I think my PSU is 850. I can't remember. Oops. Still pretty cool. I like this and like anime ones and whatever other unique versions are pretty cool. And a $530 screen. The Miku screen. Oh yeah. This one's mostly just color differences. A little bit of text. Oh, it's got a phone holder. This is Asus's logo. $27-inch fast IPS. DCI P3 color space 95%. I don't know if that's good or not. Maybe it is. I assume this is more of a gaming thing anyways. You can go vertical. Just got DisplayPort, HDMI, and that's it. And that's probably a USB-C port, maybe? Not sure. Kind of thick. And then there's a motherboard too. Here it is. $600. So the weird thing with higher end motherboards sometimes is that they're so limited on PCIe slots. This only has 2 slots. So you've got a PCIe 5 X16 safe slot, whatever that means. So that's for the GPU. But then you've got a single PCIe 16X size, but it's a 4X speed, and it goes through the chipset. The problem is it's kind of part of the issue with super high-end boards on something like AM5 is that there's just not enough PCIe lanes for it to make a ton of sense to me. Because they have to divide it, and then the chipset has some, but the chipset's connection to the CPU isn't like super fast relative to how much connectivity and stuff that it can have out to other things like USB ports and such. It's just really weird that they make these super high-end boards that have a bunch of weird quirks and limitations. I like the design though, it's cute. So if we look at the tech specs, it's the X870E, which is the best chipset for this platform at the moment. But the issue, like I said, is PCIe lanes, and it's mostly the CPU is the main limitation with how many lanes it supports. And it's also a little bit more murky depending on which CPU you get, but usually it's mostly the 8000 series is the really gimped one. So if you do go AM5, don't go with the 8000 series CPUs if you care about connectivity as much. I'm sure, I mean, it's fine, relatively fine, but you're going to have some limitations with the 8000 series. So it says 2 USB 4, 40 gigabits per second. So that's impressive. But then they're using so much connectivity for just 2 ports. Let's see. So these USB-C ports are able to output graphics through them, which is cool. But then you're going to be using onboard, well, maybe not. Maybe it does route the GPU through those. Yeah. So here's a limitation between the different CPUs, because the 8000 has fewer lanes and they're like lower spec. So you can see the 9000, 7000 series processors, you can do PCIe 5 X16 for the main PCIe slot, but the 8000 series are PCIe version 4, which is slower. So let's see. I don't know why you need to care about bifurcation when it has 2 slots. So it does have 4 places for M.2 drives and then 4 serial LTA ports. And again, you can see the differences between the different CPUs. This is based on the PCIe lanes that each CPU supports in the spec of them. And those break out into the chipset. Or I mean, the CPU has some lanes dedicated to the chipset. But like I said, I think it's only like a 4x connection. So every single thing connected to the chipset. This is the same setup with mine. I have a X670E, which doesn't officially support USB 4, and it doesn't have any USB 4 ports specifically, but it's pretty similar with everything else. Not sure what the connection speed is. X870. Let's see if AI or something can help me here. Yeah. It says 4 lanes. I don't know if it's PCIe 4 though. I don't know if that's right. That's probably not going to show me anything. Let's see if this random website has it. Doesn't mention. Using 2 interconnect chiplets that communicate via 4 PCIe Express 4 lanes. Maybe that's between those 2, but then chipset supports 24 direct PCIe Express 5 lanes from the processor. So maybe that's what I was thinking of, is the connection between the 2 chipset pieces. That's one of the limitations. But then 24 between those are direct. Yeah, no, that's 16 dedicated to the 1 or 2 GPUs at 8x 4 lanes. I don't remember where this article is located. See if I can find it. It's all these random websites. Whoops. Where was that article? What? Here we go. Okay, yeah, this is one I was looking for. Yeah, it doesn't really say. Are you down here? Nope. Specifications, motherboards. Nah, it doesn't say. Nope. Let's just get a little bit of information on how it's split up. So in my case, I have this. It's basically very similar to this one up here. You can see PCIe 5 for these two. Same situation. Same amount of usable and total lanes. So if you want to save money and you don't care about USB 4, this is still a decent option. All right. Yeah, I'm not sure where the details are on the connection. No. So this one? No, dude. Oh, these are all their own website. Nope. Whatever. I'm surprised there's not any details here. I mean, if I looked at a motherboard manual, it might say more information. Kind of doubt the manual's available for this one. Oh, maybe. Nice. They didn't brand it Miku? What the heck? They even brand the motherboard BIOS. Yeah, I'm not seeing specifications. I just changed this. Nope. Oh, this is BIOS specific. Okay, BIOS manual. That's why. Chinese version. I think this is it. DDR5, 256 gigabyte maximum. I kind of doubt that's going to work right. There's a bunch of quirks still with using 4 slots on AM5. Mostly you have to really lower the speeds, but maybe they've improved it. Yeah, here's a compatibility thing. I'm not seeing any like footnotes that would detail the connections. Oh well. See general notes. Nope. Man, I've got a headache for some reason. Anyways, there are limitations, and it's just unavoidable because of how AMD designed everything and how many lanes they give connections and stuff. $110 for a mouse. Man. I'm very particular about peripherals because I don't like clicky stuff. So I wouldn't buy anything like this unless you could swap out the switches inside, which I kind of doubt. Well, should be editing video. Well, I might end stream pretty soon here. Yep. Tells canceled something. MSI denies involvement. 5090s spot in China. Okay. B580 overclocked with antifreeze. I'd like to get a computer, not specifically. I wish they would get moving quicker with this type of technology. Basically, they're super integrated computers because it's supposed to have faster RAM and it's closer to the CPU, and the RAM is soldered onto the motherboard. So there are downsides clearly, but this is better for AI stuff. This type of configuration, but I think probably the route would be to just go with something like Apple, because I think you can get a lot more than 128 gigabytes now. But also they're slow to update the computers that you can do that with. Let's see. So there's M4, M4 Pro, M5, M4 Max. So that might be the desktop. Oh, the Ultra, is it Ultra that has the more RAM? Yeah, so they're kind of slow as well, sadly. But I think it's like a $10,000 computer when you max it out. Maybe this is not the one. $512 gigabytes of memory. Yeah, it's almost $10,000. And this wouldn't be like amazing for the AI stuff for the sense that it's a little bit older. And it's not going to be up to the level of a bunch of GPUs, but it would be better than a regular computer. Because of that whole unified memory thing. I'm not sure what the bandwidth is though. But sadly, they're still on the M3, it looks like, for that type of configuration. Not that I have $10,000 to spend on something like that. Let's see what the Pro has. M4. Oh, that one's very limited. Nope. I think there's an M5 too. I don't see it here though. Mac Studio. Okay, this one can go up to okay. Yeah, that's quite a difference. So this one, the M3 still appears to be the best option for that stuff. But yeah, $10,000. If you look at Reddit, I guess I can use my logged in account. There's nothing too goofy in here, I don't think. Let me see. Local llama. M3. 3 Ultra. All right, so it looks like some people have tried this out. So it's 2 months ago. The M3 Ultra 512GB versus NVIDIA RTX 3090. Oh, it's similar. The thing is, if you use a really large model, I would think this one would definitely do better. Yeah. Right. Anyways, if I had money to throw around at this type of thing, I would probably go with or wait for Apple to release the next iteration that has that support for more memory and stuff. But yeah, it looks like it'd be $10,000. So not today. Oh, here's Underwhelmed by. Not sure what I was expecting. Prefill is slow. Yeah, so maybe the M3 is a bit limited on certain tasks on the like the compute side rather than the memory side. Mm. Okay, so it looks like maybe it's not ideal. The slow PP. The slow PP and drop in TPS. Yeah. Hmm. Right. Hmm. Yeah, maybe once the new version comes out, maybe people will sell this. Like, I mean, there's probably not a ton of people that would buy it, but or have bought it. But on the used market, maybe it would be a bit cheaper. Or maybe like 5,000 instead of 7,000. Huh. Well, that's too bad. It doesn't look ideal. Especially for $10,000. $5 months ago. Is there a new? I mean, add that to it. 22 days ago. Let's see. Downloading to. Okay, they said nothing useful. Hmm. All right. So when I ditch their ChatGPT subscription on the M3 Ultra on the 120 billion parameter. Yeah, so stuff like this is why it kind of makes sense to me. And it appears to be working well for them. because you would need a ton of GPUs because GPU companies limit VRAM a lot. And I don't know when you interconnect them, I don't know how effective it is. And that doesn't include context and things like that. But I'm not super versed on all this at this point. DeepSeek, yeah. Oh. Well. All right. Anyways, I feel like it's not quite there, but it seems like an interesting option at least. So this is kind of similar. The thing is, AMD's solution here, or whatever you want to call it, it's much slower with the RAM speed. So, I don't know when they're going to come out with a newer version of this. It's just DDR5X, 128 gigabyte, 8000 megahertz. I don't know how many. It's probably just the two, whatever they're called, two channels of memory, I would assume. But this thing is probably like $2,000 compared to $10,000, which this kind of feels overpriced. Yeah, 2200. Nah. Steam on Linux exceeds 3% share for the first time. 1/3 running SteamOS. Okay. Some more Steam Decks, basically. %. And did this happen recently? In a new survey? Let me see. I don't know, is it every month? I don't think I submitted information with mine. Switched here for a second. Yeah, so October 2025. System information. Compare your hardware. Ah, okay. I don't remember if I submitted information though. Maybe I did. Although I have my CPU downclocked, technically. So mine isn't like amazing representation. But it probably doesn't really do speed tests. It probably just does like what you've got in there. So video card things. Operating system 63.57%, Windows 11. 16 gigabytes of RAM. It's going down. 6 CPUs is the largest percentage right now. I mean, cores, technically. 6 CPU cores. Just clank my teeth. With the 3060 is the largest percent. VRAM 8 gigabytes. Sadly, that is where I am with the 4060. At the time, it was the card that kind of made the most sense to me. Someone at AV1 encoding, which I have used. Actually, I think I'm using AV1 right now to YouTube. Let's see. Yeah, I'm streaming AV1 to YouTube, so that's useful. Good old Twitch is not capable of much. So Twitch is HJ264, and I'm doing, what is that called? The multiple encodes per stream to give more options. Trying to think of what it's called. Enhanced broadcasting. And I have it set to 3 video tracks. It's using like 10,000 or 9,000 something kilobits per second. I don't know if that includes the YouTube stuff. Probably doesn't. All right. So if we look at operating system. Yeah, so this is what they're talking about. Linux, it's gone up 0.37% to over 3% total. And it's probably mostly Arch. Arch is the one that they use with the Steam Deck, I'm pretty sure. So that's clearly the largest percent. But I mean, it's still only 0.3% of the total, which is interesting. Linux Mint, 0.2%. Ubuntu Core, I don't even know what that is. Maybe it's just variants. Ubuntu, Linux Mint, Endeavor OS. And then these are just like small percentages. I've never heard of this one. Let's take a look. All right. Yeah. Anyways, I think I'm gonna head out. Try to work on stuff instead of dipping around on here. All right. Peace. See ya.